Welcome to This Issue with the Time with Hime podcast. We're so lucky today we have some more students with us today. We always love it when we have our students. But before we get started, let's talk a little bit about the weather. As you can tell, the weather's not great out there. Weather forecasters love these days. They get to be on TV more than usual, and everybody watches them. Who really watches the weather when it's average? But it does look like the rest of the week we have a high chance to have some roads that could be dangerous. So again, just to remind you, we'll put out, if we're closing school, we'll make an announcement, or if we're going remote or virtual, however you want to call it. The second thing is, if we don't make an announcement, that means we're having school. But again, as a parent, if you feel like you don't want your child waiting at a bus stop and you can't get them to school, we have options for that. Just make sure your school knows you're keeping your child at home that day because you feel like that's the safest thing for your child. So getting that out of the way, let's now talk to our students. That's what school's about. And we are so excited y'all are here. So this is our Junior Leadership Lawton Fort Sill group. And so we have these different leaderships across, and we've had different students. So you guys got to explain what's different about you and what you want to do. So let's just start and go around and tell us who you are and tell us what Junior Leadership Lawton Fort Sill is to you. Go.
I am Addie. I go to Lawton High School, and I love Junior Leadership Lawton. It's a once-a-month opportunity to work with like-minded youth and see other people who are interested in leadership and have the same goals in life.
My name is Promise Horn, and I like junior leadership because it's a way to bring 3 schools together to go around the community and learn a lot more about leadership and ways to communicate in an organization.
My name's Tia, and I like junior leadership because it's a way for me to get to know my community.
My name's Avery Gardner. I go to Eisenhower. I'm actually the co-spokesperson for junior leadership, but I love it because I feel like I've connected with the three different schools and actually a different type of school, but as long as they're in the area. I liked it because I just feel like I've never really learned as much about them as I have doing this.
I'm Vivian Lee. I'm from MacArthur High School. And the thing I love about junior leadership is, like everyone else said, getting together with all the other high school students, but also to see what our community offers and what we can do to be more a part of it.
I'm Frank Meyer. I go to MacArthur. Junior leadership is a great way for us to all come together as Lawton kids and just get to know each other. And I feel like it's great for communication there, but it's also, we go out in the community, we learn new things, and it's just a fun way to go do that.
You know, it's amazing, as I've talked to students and we've expanded our podcast and talked about what they want, that is a common theme throughout Lawton, is doing more Lawton things. It's exciting that in sports we have our great rivalries, which are very intense, as we all know, very exciting. That's part of it. We all grow up. But in academics and leadership and community-minded things, we're Lawton. We're just one community. And you guys are kind of echoing that same theme. So that really excites me. So you guys do class projects as a group. So tell me a little bit about your class projects.
So this year, our class project, we all collectively decided, with the help of our adult leaders, of course, that we wanted to build on last year's project. So we're going to, I think we decided to take a couple days to be able to mentor to some of the the fifth graders. I'm a freshman mentor, the fifth graders at different elementary schools in the area.
Somebody else? Anything else want to talk about it?
We're essentially going to go and bring leadership activities to them and lessons that we hope will help transition them from 5th grade into middle school and help them grow as leaders, because we need more leaders.
Because you guys can remember that transition more so than we can.
Yes.
And it's kind of a big one, isn't it?
It is. It's huge. It doesn't seem that big. You think it's only one grade, but it's definitely a huge, Oof,
Anybody else?
Scary thinking about it.
We're going in depth to 4 different points, and it's going to be on communication, relationships with yourself and others, healthy living, getting more active, getting them, because from elementary school to high school, you don't really have recess or anything, so we're trying to teach them healthy living, healthy eating habits, and all that. And then we're also going into teamwork, because that's really important going in later in life too, to work with the people around you.
Very good. You know, and that communication's such a big deal. I'm excited about y'all doing that because it's even, my generation, we lived when, it was basically newspaper, TV, that was it. Maybe radio, very limited.
Yeah.
And now communication is so broad. We talk about it in our job. How do we communicate to people? We try to send text messages. We do this podcast for communication, but we still have a lot of people in our community when you can find things about the school in the newspaper, you can find it on the radio, you can find it in TV, this podcast, we're all over social media, and then you find people, well, I didn't even know that. The number of students, how many of y'all know, you all know that you can go to college free if you're part of Lawton Public Schools?
Yes.
Your college classes are free. You'd be surprised the number of people that don't know that will go around because they'll say, really? It's free? We don't have to buy our books? We don't have to pay our tuition? It's free as long as you're in high school to go. So communication is huge. Well, as the school year has gotten into it, tell me what you've liked or been excited so much about this school year. We're second semester, we're downhill. You guys are juniors, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, really, you're a senior by now, right?
I mean, basically, they got us doing senior stuff.
There you go,
so
you're seniors. Seniors have already graduated, they just don't know it.
pretty much. I mean, they're basically done for the year.
Yeah. So what do you guys love about school so far?
I was very excited to kind of, as you mentioned, start doing concurrent courses and start working in Cameron classes, getting those credits out of the way while I'm still a high school student.
Oh yeah, that's been a big one. I've taken 2 concurrent classes so far, and I love it. It gets me out of school, so I feel like, honestly, starting concurrent, I feel like I've been more engaged in school and been ahead of my studies more because I have those 3 extra hours every other morning to be able to get more schoolwork done instead of having to just pile on even more of it.
Who else? Everybody has to have something they like. Come on.
I think I've liked most even though I have had like my freshman and sophomore year with the rivalry games, I think this year it's just been like more of a rivalry for some reason. I don't know.
We're back in person.
Yeah.
Really, you guys, your freshman year of school was kind of like, oh, what
Yes,
happened?
yeah.
And even your sophomore year, we've kind of lived through 2 years. This is my 3rd year here, and the first 2 years were really.
Couldn't even see everybody's
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah, I tell people that every time I go to a group, I'm getting reintroduced to people because now I get to see them without a mask on. So that is a good point. That it's probably a huge change for you guys
Yeah,
this
it
year.
is.
Anybody else? What they love about school? Come on, you got something.
Activities in the school.
Oh yeah, I love the activities. I've gotten more involved this year, and I really just like the flow. Because our activities director, she's a really nice lady, and the way she handles stuff really makes me want to like get more involved with the school. And they've opened more opportunities to kids like.
So
Yes.
spinning in with that, one question I always ask, some of you said you watch it with the students. If you were superintendent for a day, tough one. If you were in charge and you got to do one thing, snap your fingers, what would you do different? Let's start down here this time.
One thing I would change, I mean, I know timing's always hard, but I feel like every kid is always complaining about how short lunch is. That's just an honest opinion. Every kid complains about it. I hear about it almost every day at school. I leave and I go off somewhere to eat because I'm a junior, I can leave. But other kids, they want to go. And so I've had freshmen ask me, like, can I go with you? I'm like, no, you can't go. But
We can't
I mean,
let the freshmen off campus.
they can't let them on campus. So I feel like.
You're telling me you
longer-
didn't leave campus when you were a freshman? Okay.
No.
Did I?
I definitely did.
Honestly, I don't know of a solution for this as much because I already know we have buses, but the LRC. So I have a class here at the LRC. It's AP chemistry. And since it's an AP class plus it's chemistry, and so there's a lot of lab work involved and stuff, we don't have as much time to go over everything. So a lab project that we would have to do for one day would go over 2 days, which is less time for us because instead of the full 45, it's like 30 minutes-ish. So I just wish there was a way to limit transportation time, although it's hard because it's.
We just need a time machine. We need to be like the
Yeah,
Jetsons.
yeah. But that's
I'm
probably the
aging
only thing I
myself talking
have.
about the Jetsons. Y'all don't even know what the Jetsons are. You're correct. It is one thing we look at all the time with this is making sure that schedule is as fluid as it can be and trying to make sure that your time you're not losing instructional time while on the bus. It's difficult, but using our advisory time or cell time, we call it now, and even lunch. I know he wants more lunch, but if you lost 5 minutes of lunch would be better than losing 5 minutes of chemistry.
Right.
So that's some things we're really going to work on as the LRC grows and we get more students going, is to improve those transportation time. But that is a good point. We do need to make sure that we stay on top of that.
I think the common theme is there's just not enough hours in the day, and because you can't please everybody. Nobody wants to be in school for an extra hour so they can have, longer lunch or anything. So, but truly, I honestly wish that there were more ways that kids like us could get involved at the elementary schools. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why I'm so passionate about our class project. Is I know that there's a couple opportunities, but the opportunities don't really get spoken about a lot to be able to go over to the elementary schools and mentor.
And that is one thing we're trying to work on because, now that when I first got here, we had 4 middle schools, 3 high schools.
Yeah.
And now we're going to try to, as we've got, obviously the middle schools and high schools are really well aligned now because they're right there on the same block, basically, for all of you. How do we get where what elementaries are yours, where it's kind of almost has some more of the smaller school themes to it, where the elementary kids know they're cheering for Mac or they know they're cheering for Lawton High, so we can start having some more of that. And because really with some of the makerspace things and when we talked about earlier about preparing you for a job, it needs to start in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade as to where they're going. And he said he wanted a longer lunch. He didn't say he wanted more instructional time. Let's help him out here. He wasn't extending the day. He just wanted more of the day we have to be lunch.
That's true.
I didn't know exactly what he was saying.
I think that we should bring back student council as a class because I know Eisenhower doesn't have it anymore. I don't know about the other 2 schools, but we only just have like leadership as a class, which is just the seniors. But like right now we're getting ready for our Beak Week and it's one of our busiest weeks of the year. And just with not having student council as a class anymore, it's hard that we have to like come after school and like come on weekends to try to get everything ready because we don't have that class time to plan out everything.
I think some of the discussions we've had is how do you use your cell time or that advisory time more for a student council and have those kids go first and grab their breakfast and then go meet and have that period for them. And how do we make that work? Because the issue with student council is how do we get you all in the same class, just like leadership is.
Yeah.
And so it's always pick and choose because as you take your concurrent classes and your activities and all that, but we do need to continue to expand those leadership opportunities. I agree with you on that.
One thing I'd like to add is that I feel like LPS as a whole should like start implementing like community service events where everybody can come in and like help around in Lawton because we need a better Lawton as leaders.
Perfect. That's what, I told you guys when I got here, I left the meeting and that was part of that meeting. How do we recruit people to Lawton? How do we get more people to stay in Lawton? And how do we get you guys to stay and take some of those great jobs? And that's some of the things they talked about. So, that's what I was trying to offer is what can we do to help? And that's what you guys are about is trying to, but get more of, as you get involved, you're thinking, I wish I'd have done this when I was a sophomore. I guarantee you there's other students who would like to help you with that. So I like the idea of expanding that. Very good.
I think if there's one thing I would change is I would bring more concurrent courses to the LRC now that it's an available option because it is so much more convenient, especially for students who don't have transportation. But there isn't as much of a selection of courses to take here.
And that's going to just continue to grow.
Yes.
The LRC, the idea of creating this was my first year here, and then we put it in the second year, and we had like 450 students throughout the day, and we're almost to 1,000 this year. So next year it should get even larger, and hopefully, again, the ultimate goal is that when we got here, we're talking with Goodyear, and if they want engineers, we're giving you some pre-courses in that to get you ready that when you graduate, you can only go 2 or 3 years and then go right to work for them. You only have to go 2 or 3 years of college, or you get tied to the career tech with the career tech and get some of those skills to have high skill level jobs. And Goodyear is easy because that's our biggest employer in our community. But there's a lot of people that offer high skilled. How do we prepare you for the jobs around?
One thing I would also like to add on is for Eisenhower. I know you mentioned conflict with concurrent schedules and having a student council course. We have a student council hour at Lawton High still, and I take concurrent courses at the same time. However, because they're AB days, I still attend, and
On
I
your
find
other
that
days.
to work very well.
And that's kind of the goal, as you say, because it's always going to be difficult as more and more students get in, but we do need to make sure that as we offer junior leadership And then we have the big leadership group that meets, that's seniors. What about leadership for our freshmen and sophomores? So we're continuing to look at those. Hey, these are great, guys. And they're all things we think about it, and you know, except for a longer lunch. But that's what I would have voted for when I was in high school. I'll be real. I would have liked to have a longer lunch. Anything else you guys want to share about the year, junior leadership, what you feel? You know, we always say, you guys say you're mentoring fifth graders. You know, if you can go back in time and talk to your fifth grade self, what would you tell yourself?
Oof.
Whoa. Come on now, you can think of something you would tell
I'd
yourself.
probably tell myself that you don't always have to have the same friends. Like, your elementary friends aren't going to be your friends for the rest of your life. You're always like, especially going into middle school, people change, and it's just, you're just going to be a whole different person, honestly.
And really, your high school friends, I probably have 2 or 3 of my high school friends that I can still consider good friends that I talk to, or you know, text, or
Yeah.
you know, what's that, Facebook. When you're old like me, Facebook's good because I've moved around some, but that's very good to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody else, but something else you would tell yourself.
I'd probably tell myself not to be so uptight, honestly, because looking back at my 6th grade year, because I'm such a professionalist and like perfectionist, whenever I transferred to 6th grade, I was just so uptight with myself. I wouldn't let myself like forget anything, and if I did, I would have a complete panic attack. But now that I'm in high school, so what if, like, I mean, yeah, you want to do your best, but if you forget 1 page of homework, just talk to your teacher. 99% of my teachers are some of the most understanding people I've ever met. Now, every once in a while, you're going to have that one teacher who, no, you need to get it turned in. I'm taking points off. But I would honestly just tell myself to take a chill pill.
Well, that's something that's a really good advice when you talk about, as you know, elementary students have one, in 5th grade, you have 1 or 2 teachers, and now
Yeah.
you got 6 or 7 or maybe 8 counting your cell time. And you just got to realize in the next 6 years, you're going to have 48 or 50 different teachers somewhere in there. You're probably going to have some that are just great and your personality mixes with, and some it doesn't, but it does prepare you for a job.
Yeah.
Because I mean, to get a great job and there's one boss or one supervisor over there, you don't want to lose a job. So that's a good, you know, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Is a good one. I like that. Your turn.
Kind of like to piggyback off what she said. I mean, like, I feel like all the kids, they're pumped to go, but they're also like deep down, they're all like kind of nervous. And it's just, everybody has that 6th grade year. You're always like, everybody's sporadic. They're like, I don't know what's all going on, because I went to Flower Mound, so like that school is pretty small, not even in the district. And when you go into, it's more of a public school, there's so many more kids, and you get kind of nervous, and you're like, but if you just calm down, keep like kind of not like keep to yourself, but like just like know everything's gonna be okay, like you'll be fine. Like, it was just, I overstressed myself out, and so I was just like, be fine.
Anybody else?
I would say networking is a really big thing. Going into middle school, like you said, it's such a bigger population of students. So I'd say getting to know as many people as you can, not always just being best friends with them, but just getting to know everyone, because you never know when you're going to need the help. Same with teachers and adults. I know teachers now in high school that even though I'm in high school, I still rely on some of my middle school teachers and talk to them. And honestly, being able to be here, this is all through networking also. So I'd say that's.
And networking never goes away. Believe it or not,
That's true.
today I'll be texting back and forth with all the area superintendents about the weather. And we'll discuss, you know, what do you guys think? What's it look like in your area? And that's why you'll always notice it. Most of the time, if we close, everybody around us closes. They're not just sitting at home waiting to see what I do. We're networking, and you know, I'm good friends with a lot of the other 6A superintendents throughout the state. And when things go on or different laws are passed, how are you doing this? So networking that's a lifetime accomplishment if you can learn how to network, no matter what your job is.
Yeah.
Are you the only one that hadn't done?
I probably tell myself to stop being full of myself and get involved.
I probably need to tell myself that too. by the
Getting
way.
into middle school, I feel like I wasn't really like wanting to do anything. I just wanted to stay with my couple of friends, you know. I feel like I wish I got more involved and found opportunities in my middle school. So now that I'm in high school, I would know what I'm doing. I have some experience in this and so on. So.
And you're so great because, you know, if you've heard me speak, and I know y'all listen to every word I ever say, but, you know, one of the things I talk a lot about is I want to create opportunities
Yeah.
and tear down roadblocks. but it doesn't do any good for me to create them if you don't take advantage of them. And the other thing I need our students to start saying, these are the opportunities we want. Because a 58-year-old, what I see as opportunities may not be as what y'all see as, what we see as opportunities may be two different things, but what I want to make sure I never do is create roadblocks for you. So that's a great advice to yourself. Take advantage of those opportunities. You get one shot. But, to further that, you guys still have chances for that. So make sure you're taking care. Well, thank you guys for being here. Hey,
Thanks for having us.
Huh?
Yeah.
Thanks for having
I
us.
enjoy it, and hopefully we have y'all back. Thank you for tuning in. We're glad to have you. And again, thanks for our students. Watch the weather. Until next time.